Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in for the latest episode. Gavin's switching which one he wanted. I asked you. We are happy to be.
It.
Yeah, it's all right. We are happy to be here. Good morning. Happy start to a new week. It is May. Mental Health Awareness May. I just made that up on the spot, but we are here. We are ready to have a great week with you guys. We are honored to be starting May with you. We are honored to be starting this week with you guys. Thank you for choosing Java Delights. My name is Brandon Croucher, CEO of Delight Cafe, the Delight Digital Network. I do a lot of things. I just like to make sure I pass off the buck to everybody else and tell them how important they are to my life. End of the day, I'm very grateful for my people around me, such as Mr. Gavin Kerr. Gavin, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I've tried to stay more hydrated recently. So last night I drank a full glass of water before bed, and then I drank a full glass of water when I woke up this morning. So I feel pretty good. It's weird. Like I felt like I definitely feel more hydrated, but drinking a full glass of water when you first wake up is a weird feeling.
Yeah.
You feel it go through your system.
Yeah.
Kobe,
what up, buddy? What's up, buddy? Sorry.
But
when I see someone new, I literally jump on them right away. It's just my
No,
ADD.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, I feel good. I got a lot done yesterday, and then I got a bunch planned today. So
Nice.
Yeah.
We have a few people already saying hello. Tokyo Bento's in here. Good morning, Tokyo Bento. Very grateful for you. Brian Tracy's been here saying hello already. Good morning, Brian Tracy. Good morning. There is a legend of a squirrel who once fell in love with a beautiful girl. I just felt that needed read like that. Jessica Dugas, I jumped on the Project Joy this morning with her. Absolutely love her energy. Jessica is one in a million. I highly recommend, if you have not subscribed, go subscribe to The Breakthrough Show, starting your days with a positive ways and all that. I love it. I have to read this next one the way it is. It's gonna be May. So
I saw a meme the other day where it was Jonathan Davis, the lead singer of Korn, but somebody photoshopped Justin Timberlake's face onto him, and the caption was "Something takes a part of May."
Oh,
that was all it was. You just didn't get it ever. So that's a line. Yeah, that's a line from the song "Freak on a Leash" by Korn. Something takes a part of May, and then they were also making fun of how he says, "Yeah, it's gonna be May." Never mind.
I didn't catch the Korn reference at first. I guess that's why I fell
it's
through.
Okay.
Tokyo Bento, happy to have you here, my friend. The Breakthrough Show. Hey, that's a great way to start a habit. Some people go right to, I'm drinking a gallon. I think what you're doing, Gavin, is a great way to start a habit. Keep it going. Sincerely, Jessica, the Big D Dugas. Andy,
I eat when I'm bored, so I'm just going to start drinking water when I'm bored instead.
Nice.
Hey, Andy.
Pleasure to see you, Andy. Brian says hello to Tokyo. Jessica says hello to Tokyo. She says yas. I feel like I'm supposed to read that with that. Yas. Mandy Atterbury, it's good to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Something takes a part of me.
That's not at all how it goes.
I don't care. Mine at least made sense. Yours, no one understood. I sat here staring at you, waiting for the joke.
Oh, really? Nobody understood? Then that's why she's quoting the song right now.
She's quoting it because you had to explain the joke. No. Brian says hello to me.
You don't even know that song, do you?
Something takes a part of me.
Oh, maybe you do.
Something.
The way you were quoting it, I couldn't tell. You could have.
I was doing the way she wrote it. Look, something takes a part of me.
That's more like the chorus. Something takes a part of me. Oh, something crazy that happened over the weekend. We were at Margaritaville working with you. And we were doing the event the second day, Saturday, when you went to go do your other events. Crystal was walking around, and these girls who were drinking had a dilemma about a guy. I don't know what exactly. Well, I do know what it was because they ended up explaining it to me eventually. But they were talking about this guy, and they pulled her into it because they wanted her opinion because she just happened to get caught in the crossfire of their conversation. And then eventually I got pulled over. And I started talking to them and whatnot. They pulled me over there. And I'm talking to the one girl, and I'm thinking to myself, God, she looks so familiar. Mm-hmm. Where do I know this woman from? And she's in the military. So she tells me her last name, because that's how they address one another. And I go, oh, Kerr, nice to meet you. And she goes, oh, I went to elementary school with someone named Kerr. I go, oh, well, that's interesting, but it's kind of a common last name. You know, I've met some Kerrs before, so I didn't think much of it. And she goes, yeah, his first name was Gavin. And I'm like, oh, I'm Gavin Kerr. And she looks at me. We went to elementary school together. Her name, yes, she and I went to elementary school together in Doylestown, Ohio, which is like about an hour from here in the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And once we made that realization too, my brain just made every connection. And the more that we kept talking, the more that I recognized her. It was really, really weird. Yeah. That's the second time that's happened to me. Another time we had a new bartender at Olive Garden once, and he's doing his interview, and he looked really, really familiar. And it was Tyler Latia from Doylestown, Ohio. We also went to elementary school together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the same state. I think that's cool, but I think it's even funnier. Oh, I went to school with this guy Gavin Kerr, and you're like, that's me. Jessica wants you to keep singing. Sing it out, Gavin.
That's one of my favorite karaoke songs to do.
Actually, she makes a good point. Where'd it go? She says it's a good song to do in concert. I don't know where it went, but she said it was a good song for concerts. And I have to be honest, I've seen Korn in concert. 100%. Yes. It was one I've seen in concert too. And they are absolutely astonishing in concert. That's why it's been fun to do. Let's jump into some positive articles and all that, buddy. Sound like a good idea?
Yeah, go ahead.
You got it. I'll bring the first one in today. Our first article of the day is a sister makes a video for the classmates of her brother with autism, who is starting 4th grade, and it is adorably helpful. A proud mom posted a beautiful video that her daughter made, marking the day that her little brother was starting school this year. Tania Van Brie wrote on Facebook that Ellie created this video to help spread as much information on autism as possible to the classmates at Elm Grove Elementary School, who will be surrounding William for the next 4 years. Sometimes new kids or loud places scare him because his ears and eyes are extra sensitive, she explains. Ellie, in fifth grade, who will be attending the same school until next year, provides 4 tips on how to prepare for meeting William. Overall, he's a kid like you and me, she concludes, and I hope you love him as much as I do. The video was going to be aired during the school announcements. You better want to have a tissue nearby as you watch her talking so lovely about her brother. Let's check this out, buddy.
Hello, I'm Ellie, a 5th grader in Mr. McLeod's class. April is Autism Acceptance Month, so today I'm going to tell you all about my brother. Willem is a 1st grader at Elm Grove. You might have seen him walking the halls or outside at recess. Willem was born with autism. Autism means different things for different people. For Willem, it means he can't use words. Instead, he uses a tablet to talk. It's cold rain.
Yeah, cold rain and snow when we went on our walk today, right?
Rain. He has words in his head like everyone else. His brain just doesn't cooperate the way he wants. It gets frustrating for him, but he still makes tons of sounds to practice.
Look, fish on the rig. Little toy man.
His body is very excited sometimes, so he flaps his wings or claps a lot. He is very silly and likes to laugh. He loves to read, cuddle, and loves hiking in nature. Sometimes the new kids or loud places scare him because his ears and eyes are extra sensitive. Overall, he's just like a kid like you and me. Here are some ways to be a good friend to someone with autism. 1. Smile and say hi. 2. Don't be offended if he doesn't want to do the same things as you. 3. Be patient and learn what you both like. 4. If you see someone being unkind, speak up. Saying nothing is just as bad as being the bully. I hope you learn about Willem now, and I hope you love him as much as I do. Once COVID's over, give him a high five. For now, just smile and say hi.
Happy Autism Acceptance Month. Remember, everyone with autism is different. Take the time to get to know autistics. You might find a new BFF.
I absolutely 100% am in love with that one, and was like just absolutely love how they can bring such a positive thing to such a heavy topic, because their autism is at astronomical levels, and it's just one of these things where understanding how something is sound and noise and the energy we bring can affect others so much. People who, if you've ever been around someone with autism, noises that we think are normal are extreme to them. And so that is a very special thing. And I loved that, and I was excited to share that this morning. Yeah, like spread love, guys. This is a heavy month. Really quick, speaking of spreading love, happy birthday, Mandy Atterbury. It was your birthday yesterday. I did not want to forget. Happy birthday. I agree. One heck of a sister there. Lovely person. The fact that she's so young and already bringing such a positive thing. Tears coming down eyes already. Hope you had a great birthday yesterday, as Brett said. Mr. Gavin, you are up, my friend. Tell me about your article. I'm excited.
Yes. Let's deal with the ocean.
Ooh, I like the ocean.
So Australia announces $100 million innovative to protect our oceans.
Initiative.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't want to be rude, but I wanted to make sure I gave you the right word because I figure it's going to come up again.
Yeah, look at that. There it is. That is what it is. I'm still waking up. I got to drink some more water, apparently. Australia last week committed $100 million to ocean conservation in an effort to protect blue carbon environments and reduce emissions. Let's try this again.
I was like, reset.
Yeah, uniquely suited to care about marine life as the world's only island continent. The investment package will also support Australian marine parks, expand the indigenous protected areas in the sea country, and protection of the marine species. Much of the funding will go towards ecosystems that will involve seagrass and mangroves, which play a key role in drawing carbon out of the atmosphere. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said Australia's ocean will be key to the country's role in the driving down emissions. The climate and the planet's oceans are in. My brain isn't working. What word is this?
I can't see it. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I'm coming back. All right, the climate and the planet's oceans are inextricably.
Are we having a stroke right now?
Linked to investments as a major contribution to domestic and international efforts to build healthier oceans and combat the climate change, said Morrison. This investment will boost the seagrass, the mangroves
That will
I think we
will
need
help cut emissions, and it'll mean cleaner beaches, lower fisheries by catch, more fish stock, and better protection for turtles and seabirds, and the help of coastal and indigenous communities reliant on the ocean of their livelihoods. Around 85% of the Aussie population lives within 50 kilometers of the coast.
I didn't know that.
Minister of the Environment Susan Ley said $39.9 million will go towards reinforcing Australia's position as a world leader in the marine park management, which includes $19.4 million to deliver through 2 additional rounds of the successful Our Marine Park Grants program, which will create opportunities for industry, community organizations, and indigenous communities to further engage and connect with the management of the Australian marine parks. $15 million towards oceans discovery and restoration projects to help us understand more about marine parks, and $5.4 million for steps to support the health and sustainability of the pristine waters around Australia's Indian Ocean territories. $11.6 million will be delivered over 2 years to incorporate sea country and indigenous protected areas in 9 locations to provide indigenous communities with economic and employment opportunities. There we go. Something clicked there for a second. So basically, they have money going around to every little nook and cranny they can find to help protect and rebuild their ocean.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that Australia is doing that. It's kind of like the United States. You know how the United States has all the outskirts, has most of the population. Like you go New York, Florida, California, Washington, all the way down east, west, south, all of it. If there's water by it, there's people living there. But like they said, like Tokyo Bento said, inner Australia is like basically it's mostly a desert. The Gold Coast is awesome. Yes, I've heard. I have not been, but I bet it would be. Did you know that the blue whale supplies 80% of the oxygen we breathe, yet people are still killing them? I did not know this.
I want to challenge that. I don't think the blue. I think it's just the wording. I don't believe the blue whale itself does. But are you talking about like when like they poop and then they release all that back into the ocean, and then you have like bacteria and whatnot, and like fungi that grow onto it and then eat it, and then those release oxygen? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not sure. I was reading what Mandy wrote. We're gonna have to Google it.
That's what I'm talking to Mandy right now when I asked that.
Oh, you're
talking about like the plants that feed off of the excrement as fertilizer? Because I know that the ocean itself does absorb the majority of the carbon in our atmosphere.
Okay, I did not know this.
Yes.
Did you see what Sherry McQueen wrote up here? that this tonight, I know someone is doing a show this evening tonight, a daily dose of Dano. It's a panel of autistic adults. And then one of our moderators, Mr. Brian Tracy, politely shared this link here for everybody. It is a group of, it's a panel of autistic adults who will be putting on a show tonight. They shared a link. We have to make sure we go back and get that link and make sure we have a way of being able to let everybody. Allegheny creates oxygen. I think that Brett Gordon in the back wrote that because it's on all of them.
Yeah. And that says algae.
You know what? Don't make me go read the word you messed up first this morning.
You couldn't. You tried.
No, I got your first word. I didn't get your second.
Okay, I remember now.
Yep. Is that why Geppetto could live inside a whale? Because it's oxygen? That's a good question. Good question. And Mandy does say,
because if that were the case, then that whale would have exploded when they made that fire because oxygen is extremely flammable.
True.
Yeah.
Is that what we think would happen? Is it would explode?
Yeah, if you had a giant confined space that was like majority oxygen, it would definitely blow up.
If we spark it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that's
how they got out of the whale, remember?
Yeah, the whales
Brian was they made a fire inside of in the whale to make them cough and sneeze.
Oh, that's right. They did. They did. Oh, Gavin, let's get on to this next thing. Oops, I put the wrong link up here. I was trying to get Allegheny. Is what I messed up there. That's my fault.
You don't want to talk about exploding whales anymore? Because that's a real thing that happens.
I'm trying to get this daily dose of Dano to post here. She's and Mandy Atterbury's looking for your link. Boom, there we go. I've got it. I'm sharing it to all of our locations, so that way we're able to post it and you can click on it no matter where you are. I think that's pretty exciting. Brian was faster than me, makes me laugh. And then Mandy's going to find you a link. So Gavin, we have a busy
definitely
week.
Find me a link on that. So I'm curious.
No. Yeah. We have a busy week planned, man. Today we have Brett Gordon, and then we have a special guest with Matt DiGeronimo. Matt is an author. He has a best-selling book off of Amazon. He's doing a lot of inspirational, motivational leadership traits that he focuses on. Where'd it go? He was in the United States Navy. He's a radio talk show host. He's a college adjunct professor, energy and manufacturing operations executive, an artist, and an author. Graduated from with nuclear engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and an MBA from the University of Connecticut. I can read that one at least. And at the end of the day, he's got a lot of cool things. I'm excited we get to have him on today. Have you seen those videos of exploding beaches?
Yes, beached whales,
exploding.
yeah.
That is a very interesting. Yeah. So we have tonight, this afternoon, later today. Reset, Brandon. You and I both needed one today. We have Stovetop Yum Yum coming on, and she's going to be cooking for us this evening. She's going to be popping in. She's doing her prep work now. We have her new intro video she's going to be sharing with us as well. A lot of fun things coming up. We have Brett Gordon coming in to teach us about leadership, mental health, and building up the best us. We're here to provide a good platform. Tomorrow, Jessica Dugas is coming on. This week is a very, very big week for her in the way that she has her brother. Thursday is the day for her brother. That's a very important one. It's when he passed. And just as an individual, everybody knows what it's like to lose someone, but a family member is very difficult. And she was on her Joyful Project this morning, giving all the positives about him. And tomorrow she's going to come on and we're going to talk about like how people, we all do this, but we say, oh, I wish I would have remembered to say this to them. I wish I would have loved them like this. I wish I would have been able to say this to them. We're going to talk about why that's essential to be able to be who we are. You need to be able to know that you have to say those things because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And being able to know you gave your best at all times is better than just being busy. I'm excited for that. Wednesday, Joe will be joining us and Sue's. Joe will be working us out for the first time, and we're going to be giving away a free workout session, a week's worth of training through exercise and diet and motivation. Joe will help you put a week of calendar together. So everybody who comments, I went through the Facebook post the other day and I saw that we had a few likes, a few shares, not a ton. But we had a good amount that were going, and it's a start because we're going to start spending more and more things out there about being positivity and making sure we give stuff away. But also we're going to make sure that we're able to provide every single person a chance to be able to communicate, participate, and share with one another of what we're doing. And we want to make sure we're giving our best. Gavin, tell me more about what you've been up to, what you have planned for this week. Like, you have a lot going on too, don't you?
Yeah. So this week, at least today anyway, I have to, first I got to call my insurance company. Something happened where they sent me a letter saying that I wasn't covered during the time of my last dental appointment. So I'm just going to call them, get that sorted out really quick so I don't have to pay a disgusting amount of money for something that should have been covered for. And then I have to I'm going to be calling around to local areas, local bars and restaurants to get some more DJ gigs. I did get another one at Hatfield's Good Grub. I'm doing karaoke there as well, so I'll be doing trivia and karaoke. So I just need one more, and then I'll be comfortable with that. And then what else? Cleaning, just doing some more cleaning in the house. I did kind of like a quick clean yesterday because I spent a lot of time outside. I was going to do some more work outside, but it is raining. However, it is also kind of warm out, so I might go out and do some work anyway, just in the rain. I have to do some measurements of the front yard here. I have, you know how I have all those rocks in my driveway?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get new ones and redo that, and then I'm going to get some new mulch as well and soil. And over here where I started growing new grass last year, I need to put down more soil and more seed and redo that just because it's about halfway there. And then in the front flower bed here, I'm going to completely weed and mulch and then replant things in there.
That's a great idea. I think that's going to be a great thing. You take very good care of your house. For being a young guy, you make sure to take care of all your stuff. You make sure to
I try to. I'm renting for my mother as well, so I gotta like I personally am a pretty clean, organized person. I'll let things go for like a couple days, and then I'll just spend a whole bunch of time and just knock everything out. But then also with it being renting for my mother, I definitely want to like make sure that everything is up to date and in order.
This is the cutest freaking thing ever. I swear to God, this is you and Crystal in the future. By the way, Gavin came out to my parents' house on Saturday, and we had a bonfire and a movie, and Crystal and Gavin got to meet my parents firsthand. The first thing out of my parents' mouth and my sister's mouth the next day was, "How do you get Crystal to talk?" I'm like, I told you guys, she's very introverted. And my mom and dad were both like, we tried so hard. I go, Dad, don't take it personally. She's just a very introverted person. The fact that she was here. At Tokyo Bento, I did not go pick up the box yet. That's because I had to organize a truck rental, and Gavin and I will be going there tomorrow. And I look forward to opening. Tokyo mailed me a package apparently, and I'm super excited to see what it is. I thought I was going to sneeze, and it turned into a yawn. Big Ten interview. I don't know what a BTN interview Wednesday. Between the notes. I figured it out on my own.
Yes.
Your interview was great, buddy. The other one, the one you just did.
With Hem Nutcher.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely great interview. Watched it yesterday. Had it on the background while I was moving around, cleaning some things, getting myself ready for the week. Very proud of you, buddy. Keep doing great work. Between the notes, BTN.
Yeah, they were a blast to talk to.
They were hysterical too. You guys just bonded like right away. I could see you like just chilling with them for hours.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it was a late interview for me. Like we started at, I want to say 12:15 is when we started that interview. But they were prepared to go for however long. I told them I like my interviews to go minimum 1 hour, maximum 3 hours. And when I said that, the one guy was like, all right, let me go to the bathroom and get a drink real quick.
I would have done the same thing. You had a busy weekend. You worked for me. We're still waiting for that stupid second Gavin Kurd to send me my money back so I can actually pay you. I sent Gavin a pay, and I didn't realize that there's more than one Gavin Kerr. There's apparently 8 of them because he is Gavin Kerr number 8. And I sent it to Gavin Kerr, just number 1. I didn't know that I needed to click 7 more different Gavins before I could actually get you. Gavin, did you try talking to your fiance via deep throat singing?
No, I have yet to try it since last night, or since the other night when I did the interview. It's difficult. It definitely is. Like every time I thought that I was close, I also had both my earbuds in, so I couldn't hear myself. I feel like that definitely made a difference. It's a lot easier to try to find where your voice is when you can hear it yourself properly. But it's definitely a really interesting technique. No, he said there's like 2, so most of your vocal flaps are right here and they go this way, but he said at the very top there are 2 that are like this and come like towards one another, and you never really use those, and those are the ones that you use for throat singing.
Do you know who I heard is a phenomenal deep throat singer? Mr. Brett Gordon. Let's bring him in here.
Okay, I don't know about the deep throat singing.
I couldn't help it. That made me. I set that joke up so well, and I'm like, this is going to be so much fun. I was sitting there and waiting for it to happen. Gavin's like, yeah, you got to align it. It goes right through here. It's 2 muscles we don't use, and it's for the deep. It's for the throat singing. You got to go. Oh, that's how you. Shame on the other Gavins for trying to be in that number 1 spot. It clearly belongs to our Gavin. Rich.
I mean, they could have just probably downloaded the app before I did. Oh my God, that's another crazy thing. So I was driving home. Yeah, mind. I was driving home the other day from my producer's house. It's like a 2-hour drive. I stopped halfway there on the way home, and at a gas station. I ended up buying Crystal one of those little Funko Pops. It was a Harley Quinn one. And the guy asked me, he's like, oh, you like really into all this stuff? And I was like, oh, like DC and things like that. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. I'm more of a Marvel guy. Well, we ended up hitting it off and talking for probably like 20, 30 minutes in this gas station. He's the clerk there. And I get ready to leave. And
you said
if I have
clerk?
a conversation.
Clerk or crook? Clerk. Just making sure you weren't helping him rob the place. Thank you.
No, he was the guy running the gas station. But we had a good conversation, so I'm like, oh, I'll figure out what his name is. I go to shake his hand. I was like, hey, what's your name? And he goes, oh, it's Gavin. And I go, excuse me? And he goes, it's Gavin. I was like, oh, I'm also Gavin. And then he told me about, like, if there was ever a fight to the death for the name, that he would just stay home. He can let me have it. So that was nice of him.
At least he's able to give you that. So, yeah. Brett, tell us a little bit about how your weekend was. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well. The weekend was actually pretty uneventful. Didn't do a whole lot. Stopped by to just check on my parents and how things were going at the house there. And otherwise, pretty much just unfortunately or fortunately, I got tied into the series on Amazon Prime called The Boys, which I don't know if anybody's seen that, but it's kind of like superheroes that are not really of the mindset of superheroes. And
it's kind of like a realistic look on superheroes when you think about it.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not like realistic, because it's pretty damn gory, and there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that actually I think do happen to reflect life oftentimes. And I think they affect, because a lot of it also ties into politics and so forth. But I ended up kind of like binge watching that and going through all of season 1 and as far as they have gone in season 2. And I did all that in like 3 days. So that was not necessarily the most productive thing in the world, but I'm done with it and I can move on to other things now. And that's what this week is all about, is really kind of re-engaging in focus things to continue to grow the business and not have to sit there and watch TV for the next 8 to 16 hours or however long it's been. Actually, I think that was probably about 20 hours of TV all in, like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how they get you. That's how you know it's a good show, though, when you waste like 3-4 days of your life just straight to watching that show. That happens a lot with me and animes. My girl and I were big anime fans, and the episodes are usually like 30 minutes long. If I ever find a TV show that I like where the episodes are only like 30 minutes long, usually they're like 45 minutes now, but every now and again you'll find a kind of a shorter one, and I'll just go through probably 7 hours easy just watching the show over and over
the
again.
worst thing I ever did is when I found out about Game of Thrones. And I didn't know anything about it until it was like all the way done. And I like binged watched 9 or 10 seasons of that.
Well, those are like hour-long episodes, aren't they?
At least, yeah. And I watched them like over the course of probably 2 weeks. I ended up binge watching like the whole 9 seasons. So definitely something that I wouldn't recommend getting involved in and then spending your life doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so for this week, one of the things that I was thinking about, and it kind of ties into the talk that your point about the oceans and so forth, but it's that thriving in life and leadership is kind of like swimming. It can be as simple as reminding yourself to take one stroke at a time and just focus on making that next stroke, because that keeps your head above water and it keeps you moving in a direction. And one of the things that really relate to me as far as that is when I was younger, more like when I was your age, Gavin, which was I think a century or two ago. I was with a bunch of people that I used to hang out with and go and work with, because I worked at Marriott's Great America, now Six Flags Great America. They got one in Chicago, they got one on the West Coast, but it's amusement park. And we used to have a lot of group, a group that would hang out. And we started out drinking, and then we went to a lake, and there was this raft way out in what to me was, it was the middle of the lake, and I'm a decent swimmer, but I was like, man, that's a long way to swim to get out to the raft. But the group started swimming out that way. And part of the group was like, okay, we're going to bring the beer and all this stuff in the boat, and we'll follow you guys out there. And I remember swimming and getting about halfway out, and I was really starting to get tired. And it was just kind of like me and this other guy that were kind of behind the rest of the group that made it out to the raft. And I was looking out there and I was like, holy shit. You know, I'm drunk, and yet I'm like swimming and starting to panic. And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, the boat's coming behind me, because the guy said they were coming with the boat. And I turn around and I look, and the boat's still on the shore. They're still drinking and screwing around and putting the beer in the boat and all that stuff. And me and this other guy are like halfway between shore and the raft. So it really didn't matter which direction we wanted to go. We had to do something in order to be able to survive.
At this point, you're like, oh, I should have joined the Navy instead of the Air Force, huh?
No, but I don't want to. I don't want to get into, you know, drop on the soap kind of thing in the Navy kind of thing. You know, I'm Air Force, so I won't go that direction. And I know the Navy people will probably kill me for saying that. But
so you're halfway between the raft and the shore. What are you doing?
So I start to tread water and I start to panic, and it's like, you know, am I going to drown? And I was like, no, okay. All I have to do is concentrate on making the next stroke. Just do one stroke at a time, kind of like one square at a time, but one stroke at a time. And eventually,
that's what Dory was singing in Finding Nemo, right? Just keep stroking, just keep stroking.
Exactly. And I eventually made it to the raft, and so did the other guy. And when I got to the raft, I remember holding on to it, and it was like, holy cow, I can't believe I made it out here. But at the same time, it was an accomplishment to actually live, and a lesson in life. So what I found when I was doing that, though, is sometimes we have to dog paddle. And we're just going a little bit at a time, but we're still keeping our head above water. We're still moving forward. Sometimes I flipped over and did the backstroke for a little bit. Then I did the side stroke, and then the breaststroke, you know, different things in order to just continue to move forward, and eventually made it to the end. So I think that, you know, that is the same thing that we have in life. Oftentimes in life, we kind of start moving in a direction, and we've got a goal, or we've got an objective. We got something that we're trying to accomplish, and we get stuck in the middle. And that thing that we thought we were going to be able to hold on to, or that was going to come along and help us to get there, never shows up. So it's up to us to figure out how to make it happen. And it's always great to be able to have someone that you can call on, or somebody that you can depend on to help you when you get in those situations. But guess what? That doesn't happen all the time. So what I think I'm really focused on in most of the stuff that we do, including one square at a time, is to add one more thing that we can use, one more different kind of a stroke, a side stroke, a breaststroke, a butterfly, to get us to that next level. And to help us to survive in and thrive in life, not just survive in life.
Absolutely.
It's always about getting the best stroke out there. Like, find what your best stroke is. When you're on, the day is just being started, and I've apparently only got a dirty mind on Jessica's show. I was like, Phil popped in, and I'm like, the Big D, and they laughed, and then I'm like, her and I, when we get together and it's just Jessica and I, it turns into the BJ Cafe. It sounds really bad. Gavin's over here deep throating, but at least Brett teaches us how to deep throat sing. I mean, like,
and then I'm trying to talk about how you can keep stroking.
Right?
Yeah.
But and Gavin like set it up as a joke and you didn't catch it, and it made me laugh way too hard because I like had just taken a drink and he baited you into it, and then you kept saying the word stroke, and I'm like, he did not catch Gavin's joke.
Well, I
right.
knew that when I wrote up what I was going to be talking about today. I was like going to be talking about stroking, and quite interestingly enough, the very last scene in The Boys has Homelander standing on top of a building talking about how he can accomplish anything, and he's moving, and then they pan back, and there he is with his pants down, and he's on top of a building stroking over the entire city. So this is an interesting conversation because I knew that was going to come up. And
so
you
for
never know
those who heard about The Boys being
anyhow.
a superhero show, it is, but it's not a family show. Don't watch it with the little ones. But,
No, not at all.
Bringing it back to swimming and everything.
So we get back to life, and life is all about really just having the perseverance and to recognize that although the goal may seem way out in front of us, the key to achieving that goal is to take that next stroke, to take that next step, to continue to recognize that it only takes one step at a time, one square at a time, one stroke at a time in order to continue to move forward. It keeps your head above water. And as you make progress, then you'll have more initiative and more confidence that you're going to continue to make that next stroke. Now, granted, there's going to be times in life when you run into waves and run into storms that can throw you off course, that can really make it difficult to move forward. But as long as we continue to recognize that all we got to do is make that next stroke, to stop and paddle, to consider our situation, to reevaluate, and then to take that next stroke again is what's really going to be able to get us to the end. Yes, sir.
So I just thought of this, and Suze, this is because of you. You led this. Brian said squids stroke each other a lot while they are at sea. Suze says, "Good morning, Sherry." I hit the wrong one, but it's good to see you. And then she made the comment about keep your head above water, and all I could think of is Avril Lavigne's "Can't Keep My Head Above Water, it is my breath." But my thought through that is, when you're actually in life and you feel like you're drowning, we do everything we can to keep going and we keep busy. But when you're drowning, you're supposed to stay calm and tread the water, so that way you can float. And that's not what we do in life. And I think that's funny because our body is almost 80% water. Our minds are 80% or 90% water. It amazes me because we're basically the same thing that we're afraid of drowning. But when we get busy, we don't even realize we're using the water inside us and drowning ourselves. So instead of panicking and creating all these different things, find your life vest and pop it and start treading the water slowly. Because whether you're getting stroked by a squid, or you're having trouble swimming. Shut up, Gavin. You know where I went with that.
I was waiting for Tokyo to say something.
I'm kind of baiting him on that one. I wanted to see what he'd say too. But like the truth is, I think about that a lot on how our bodies, our minds, everything a part of us is water. And then when you actually do research into why the earth is what it is and how we match that to so many levels, from our body to our bones to the nutrients and the way our oxygen breaks down to the way the trees break it down, the percentages are so close. And I think it's Gavin, I will explain later. What is she explaining to you, Gavin?
I have no idea.
What did you do wrong, Gavin? Do you need a tutor?
That's the question of the year, isn't it? What did I do wrong this time?
My thing is, she says, I'll teach you, I'll explain later, Gavin, as we've talked about the BJ Cafe, the Big D, and strokes. He's engaged, Suze. and his
Is it something with
fiance.
keeping my head above water?
I mean, maybe. I can't keep
Or digging
my
a hole.
above water
Yeah.
and lose my breath.
I don't know, but apparently I'm lost.
I am too.
You know what that
Guys,
makes me kind of feel like when like you're sitting there and somebody just comes up to you and she goes, "Hey, what's wrong?" When nothing is wrong.
oh yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, really quick, if you have a superhero that you would like to hear us talk about, you can email us at brett@businesses.rpeople2 with the second O. So also remember that, like that's why it has the second O also. So tell us who your favorite superhero is. Do not miss out on that opportunity. Brett Gordon is giving personal lap dances to everyone who emails him this week. Make sure you email him your favorite superhero, from Spider-Man to Aquaman to even the neighbor next door that's the firefighter. Make sure you tell us who your superhero is and let us know. I'm being called out now. Look, Brandon, oh my God. Like,
Brandon's the superhero.
no, not like that. Gavin's Birds and the Bees is the name of my second band. I can't even read it.
Anpanman.
I don't know what that is. So
Anpanman.
Tokyo.
Yeah. You guys think that Plastic Man is anybody's favorite superhero?
Mm-mm.
No. Like how honestly I feel like it would suck more to be a superhero that nobody likes or cares about than be not a superhero at all.
Well, if you remember watching The Big Bang Theory,
Yeah.
Yes.
and they always had like the superheroes and stuff, and this was before the new Aquaman came out with Jason Momoa, and Raj comes dressed as the old Aquaman with the yellow hair, and he's wearing kind of a floaty almost type thing that's his seahorse that he's riding, and he's like, Aquaman sucks. Aquaman sucks. And
I don't remember this.
yeah, and it's funny, especially considering when you think of Aquaman with Jason Momoa, who's this badass MF who's out there just
a
really
beast of a man. That's not because that's not Aquaman is badass. It's Jason Momoa is bad. He could play he could be Plastic Man,
but when he took on the Aquaman role, he made that thing really cool.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean, just badass. So I laugh because they're making fun of it, but then when Jason Momoa takes on that role, all of a sudden it became the coolest thing in the world to be Aquaman.
Well, that's because
and about the only one here that could actually come close to that is Gavin, right? He's got the body for it.
I'm trying.
I'm gonna just agree with that because I don't really want to be Aquaman. So yeah, of course Gavin's closest to Aquaman.
I mean, if we're going for Jason's Aquaman, I mean, I definitely have closer resemblance of the hair than you do.
So, Mr. Gordon, today
Yes.
today we're bringing you on. We know we're going to be talking about movies and all that. We're going to be talking. We know that there's not even one that you and I are really going into. We're actually organizing it so that way this gonna be May is going to be one for all of us to really start connecting and being able to Gavin. I'm sorry. I pictured Aquafina, and that's how I wanted to say it, is Gavin.
That's what I thought when he put it up there. I thought Aquafina as well.
I 100% was like, what? That's a great one. But we're planning a future with having your videos be able to be shared more along the lines of why these are superheroes that we're doing, and not just, there's Batman, there's Superman, there's Spider-Man. There's a whole nother level to it about helping you connect with those superheroes and finding the tools to build you. Tell us what your plans are for this week. Like, you're gonna be releasing one this week, and then you're gonna go live?
The best thing for us to do is for you and I to kind of catch up and get this whole thing planned out, so that when we talk about it, we'll introduce it on Monday, we'll drop it on Tuesday, and then we'll do the interactive session on Thursday at some time when we can interact with the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what you and I've been planning. It's just Brandon had to fly all over the country for a few days, weeks.
That's okay, because everything that you were doing was being like, even though you can't fly on your own, you're kind of your own Superman. You got on the plane, flew out to LA, then flew back to Cleveland.
I'm exhausted. Like yesterday, it was my first day to refill Brandon, and I was being called and text all day. People were like, "Hey, can I come see you? I just haven't hung out with you in a while. Hey, can we do this?" And it was like, guys, today's my day. Like, it's Brandon day. Hey, Jacob, good morning. So that's kind of funny. His comment came at a perfect time. Become friends with Brandon and have the most random stuff running through your head at the most inappropriate times. My question, are Brandon refills free? Brandon refills are free for everybody. I love to make sure everybody's feeling good. Here's the thing, that when Brandon does shut down, it means he's empty. We all need a recoup sometimes. Yesterday I hung my hammock for my first time alone to reset and be me. I was asleep in minutes in that hammock. The sun was hitting on me. I was just in heaven. Brett, what do you do to get your best Brett Gordon?
Sometimes I just have to sit back. I burn some sage. And
I burn stuff too.
It smells almost the same too. So I burn some sage, kind of take an opportunity to really break away from the internet and all the social media and emails and all that crap that keeps coming in, and try to get out to nature if I can. Or if I can't get out to nature, go out into the backyard and just kind of chill for a while, listen to some music. I oftentimes forget the power of music, even though I talk so much about frequency. It's just that you start getting on this other frequency and you forget about something that is as core as music. And when I listen to some of the music that I enjoy, or I listen to Native American music, or I listen to music from all over the world, I can regain my focus and grounding. And I think that that's really critical. Get into whatever the music is for you, to be able to recognize what music you need to listen to settle you down, to reground you, and what music you want to listen to in order to bump up your energy and get your focus. And there's music for all of that, or at least there's frequencies for all of that. Mm-hmm. So get to know yourself, and that's kind of the way that I do it, because I am more of going inward in order to regain my grounding than going outward, and that's how I do it. Now, people that are more of extrovert, meaning that when shit hits the fan, they go out and talk to people, then get out and talk to people. I mean, that's the key. That you?
So the funny thing is, yes, no. Yes, I can go out and entertain like nobody's business and keep a room full. I do not. It's the fact that I don't put my boundaries up or my barriers up to not keep giving. It's like yesterday, I was called by 2 different people to help move because they had life situations happen and they needed help. I want to help people, but if I didn't take yesterday for me, I literally would have gone there and today been even more exhausted. I'd be yawning. I wouldn't be able to give our guest, who apparently already left us. He did not like our conversation already. He was back there for a minute, was like, fuck this. Boop. Like, I swear, he was like, I was watching his react. I think something's wrong with his internet. Yeah. But yeah, now really quick, I do need to do a side thing really quick. Last Friday, we had Jacob on, who likes to go hiking, climbing, disc golf, do it for himself, outdoor time. Sounds
outdoor
like a date.
Time. Good time to get grounded.
It sounds like that. It sounds like a dating app the way I read it too, on purpose. But the other thing is, we had a deal where I was going to share with everybody the wheel of names and everybody who shared everything. And here is our list so far, just so everybody sees everybody who shared this. And I have to be honest, I'm kind of excited to spin it because we're going to spin it at the end of the show, see what happens with everybody, and like literally be ready to just give away a free box of Delight Cafe CBD tonight or today. Tomorrow we're giving away a free lap dance with Brett Gordon. And we're getting ready for a lot of fun. Our guest, if he comes back, I'll be happy to throw him up here with us. But Tokyo, Emotions in Motion album was my first concert. That is pretty cool, the fact that you two are able to connect like that. I don't know where our guest went, so I'm going to keep talking to you, Mr. Gordon. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna just address a couple things. I saw Tokyo Bento talking about what Anpun Man is, and I honestly forgot.
I saw
what the name of the bun with the sweet bean paste inside was called. I love those things. They're absolutely. I mean, I got the very first time I had one of those was when I was in Korea, and I was used to going to, you know, a what do you call them, a bakery, and getting like a cream-filled donut here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But in Japan and in Korea, you go into there and they'll have something that looks similar, but inside is a red sweet bean paste. And I remember the first time I bit into it, I was like, oh my God, what is this? Because it's not that creamy kind of thing that we get.
Yeah.
And after a while, I got to, I will eat that over cream-filled donuts and junk that we have here. And it's actually better for you because it is red beans that make up this bean paste. So now I know what Anpun Man is and what it refers to. So I got that. I'll have to remember the name of it, and I'll have to check out the superhero Anpun Man, because I honestly never heard of that when I was in Japan.
So have you ever had any of those made from scratch? The bean thing you were just talking about. I forget the actual name of it. Jacob, I saw both of your comments here. I switched your name to being your family name. Yeah. Gavin. And then, yes, buddy, do me a favor, Brandon Croucher or Java or Delight Cafe, any of those, send a message. I would be more than happy to send it to you really quick, Mandy Atterbury, so I don't have to keep typing. I would love to, but you are in a country that I am not allowed to mail to yet, and that has nothing to do with who you are. It has to do with government regulations and shipping overseas. So please know I would love to, but yes. Guess what, guys? Our guest still isn't here.
Well, I think
Stovetop just popped in the back. That's who I thought. I thought it was him too. He really did. He popped in. He looked around. He was doing some stuff. He had his head out his hand. It looked like something was going on, and then all of a sudden he was gone. So I hope he's okay. So that bean paste and bread, as Tokyo said, I actually, at one point in my life during my divorce, needed a complete reset. And I ended up doing Chinese food delivery. And one of the guys who worked there, his whole thing was making everything from 100% scratch.
Yep.
Oh, my God. When it would come out of the oven, like he had 7 different ways of making these things. And it was like so good. Like I could eat a bag of these a day. Like he would make them for me. He spoke no English and I spoke no Mandarin. And him and I had our own way of connecting and respecting and loving one another. It truly was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I love being able to try new things and see new culture. So the minute Tokyo said it, I'm like, it looks familiar, but I don't know what that is. And then right when you start describing it, I could picture it. And then I'm like,
they've got the red bean ice cream, and that's amazing. It's really just a difference in what we like in the US have gotten used to.
Is it more
in
like
terms
a
of the
savory?
creaminess and that stuff versus what they're used to, because dairy is not a big part of Asian diets. So they've got different things that they use when they're making their food. And I love it. I mean, I've lived in Japan, I've lived in Korea, I've been to the Philippines, I've been to Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and every place I go, I just enjoy trying new food. And the food that they have tends to be healthier than ours. It tends to be fresher than ours. It's we're not going to McDonald's when we're over there. We're doing more of your local restaurants, your families that have a restaurant, they're doing their own recipes. And that's an amazing part about being overseas.
What's it taste like? Is it more of like a savory?
I will be right back.
Are you talking about? Or are you talking food in general?
I will be
The
right
bean
back,
cake.
guys.
Okay.
I will be
you're
right
good,
back,
brother.
guys. He's emailing me what's going on and what his problems are. I'm going to go try to take care of that, but I'm going to do a favor. You guys ready for this? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please know that what you are about to see is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We do not get this always, but when we do, we want to make sure we emphasize this to the utmost positive way. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? It is time for that episode of Stovetop Yum Yum. We're just going to say hello.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Good morning, Marissa.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning, Marissa. We're doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Happy to be here as always.
So
Happy to have you.
our guest is going to be coming back in a second, Maritza, but I wanted to hear all about what are you making today for us. You have sent me messages all excited. I'm excited to hear what you have. What do you have? What will you be surprising us with today?
Today I am making Veggie Lovers mini quiches. Yum.
Are there tomatoes in it?
No, red peppers, baby Bella mushrooms, baby spinach, eggs, and 7 ounces of onion and chive cream cheese. Yum. Yum.
Man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
This is exciting. This
Yeah.
is perfect. That is a great thing. Now, have you already tried this? Have you sampled a little for yourself and eaten it on the side, or is this completely going to be free range Maritza stovetop getting ready to try something in front of us new?
No, I've made this before and it's absolutely delicious. What I love about it, guys, is that it's bite-sized. You can just stick a whole one in your mouth because you know that usually brunch events have a lot of different varieties of foods that you can eat. So it's really nice when you have something you can just grab and just put in your mouth, whether they're passing it around at a wedding or whether you're at a brunch location. So that's what I love about it. It's so delicious. I have the batter pre-made, of course, because you guys know that my segment's only 30 minutes. So I just want to show you. Look at this. I have all my ingredients. And I also have, guys, a cup of Parmesan cheese, which will work as our salt. That will add the salty element. So that's it.
Ooh, I'm excited. I might just get in the car and drive down to you now. Just save me some.
Look at how cute this is. I have some pie crust. You can buy your favorite pie crust. Makes it easier. If you want to make your own, that's up to you. I don't. I like shortcuts, so I really don't have much time. But I did put them in my mini tins, and I started to load them, as you can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very simple. It's pretty much garbage. I call it a garbage bowl drop. You just drop all your ingredients in one bowl and just mix it. Very simple.
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to bring our guest in. I'm going to read his stuff, and I look forward to coming back to you in a little bit. Miss Maritza, tell your fans.
They'll be ready when you come back.
Good to see you. Great energy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you guys to a wonderful individual who is coming on to help us make sure we get the best out of ourselves. He has written an Amazon's best-selling book titled Deer Hunter, Letters from a Father to Son. Matthew DiGeronimo is a native Hawthorne, New Jersey. His life experiences include a submarine officer for the United States Navy. Thank you for your service. An entrepreneur, radio talk show host, college adjunct professor, energy and manufacturing, operations executive, an artist, and an author. He holds an undergraduate degree in nuclear engineering, and I cannot pronounce all of this, but it's called RPI, and I'd rather not mess it up, so we're going to let him teach us about it, and a master's in business administration from the University of Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to have with us today Mr. Matt DiGeronimo. Please give him a welcome. Hello, how are you, Matt?
Good
morning, Matt.
Oh,
we can't hear you. 1 second.
I think the sound went out again. Do you know sign language? No? It's okay.
Granted, that doesn't matter either because we have people who are just listening in.
I'll read it. I'll read it to everybody. I'll be like, his name is Matt. He's written 2 books, or written a book. It's called The Father. I got you. Matt, if you want, buddy, do yourself a favor, reset again and try again. I know the technology it's frustrating, but I really appreciate it. And we know this. Hey, it's a Monday, right? We're going to come back and we're going to give you a verbal hug. So that way we start this week over in a good way. And that way we're excited to hear from you. Sound good, Matt? Thank you, Matt.
Right. See you in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Right.
We have a new one. You ready?
CK Ford.
Yeah. So we're getting it. I love what we're doing. Guys, we're really spreading a lot of positivity. We're growing, and the fact that we're spreading a good news. There's a lot of work that's going into this. We're not hitting Patreon or anything like that, because the truth is my team, and not me, my team of people, because I can't take credit, are literally individuals who are one stroke at a time. Sorry. It came in right then. But this is a team of individuals who literally see that the world is having struggles and want to be positive. They want to not change just their own lives. They want to give themselves back to everybody else. So please know we are truly grateful for every single person jumping in, and technical difficulties happen. And I'm so grateful that we have guests who are leading the way in the charge, are spreading positivity. Jessica, welcome to the fact that thank you for your service. Go Navy. And he just left as I was reading Jessica's message. I feel bad. I really do feel bad. He is trying so hard to get this to work, and you can see that it looks like it's getting frustrating. So let's send him some good vibes, and I know that we all know that feeling of embarrassment, struggle, and anger, but at least we're still not Brett Gordon. Brett and I pick on each other. It's a love-hate relationship. He loves to hate me, and I love to love him. So
bullshit. I don't hate you. I love you, man.
I love you too. I'm moving in with Brett, in case nobody knows. I'm just going to randomly drive out to Vegas one day, knock on his door. I don't know what his address is, but I'm going to knock on his door and just be there. And we're going to do a show. And then I'm going to do the same thing to Gavin. I might have an easier time doing that to Gavin since I know where he lives.
Honestly, I feel like if you're determined enough, you could definitely find Brett Gordon without actually getting his address. He's in Vegas. That's close enough.
That's right. You can just knock on. There's only a couple houses. You just knock on the door. Eventually, I'll be there.
I bet I could get within a block of you without trying. You give me 30 minutes, I could find your address. I guarantee it. CK Ford, fellow veteran and fellow author. Today is an awesome Monday. It started off with a Party Central Monday live with Care Bear Brandon and Project Joy, otherwise known as BJ Cafe. We had the Big D pop in today, and we talked about strokes over here. So wait a minute, Miss Ford. We need to be able to share your book. If you got, it might not be a bestseller yet, but the only way to do it is get you out here and talking about
That's
it.
right.
I love it. My nephew-in-law started at the Naval Academy and will play football for that team. Honestly, I'm going to be 100% with this.
Wow.
I know people that have done that between the Army and the Navy. That is a huge accomplishment. I don't know if people realize to make a college football team that is also part of the service is way different than any other sport. To get that, you have to keep doing your Army, you have to keep doing your Navy, you have to keep doing your service before you can even play. You have to earn your right there.
I went into the Air Force after I graduated college. So I didn't do the ROTC thing. I didn't go into the academy. I went into officer training school right after I graduated college. And I, for me, that was absolutely the best way to do it. It gave me the opportunity to kind of experience the college life without having all that additional stuff. But when I talked to the guys that went to the academies and the kind of stuff they had to go through, and then the sports on top of that they have, it's crazy. I don't know. There's no way. Well, I say that now, that there's no way I would have been able to do that. But I ended up getting my master's degree from the Air Force Institute of Technology, but nowhere near the kind of environment as the academies.
Do they still pay for your school if you join the military after you graduate?
Well, it all depends. I mean, you can get into different programs where they can pay for the school. When I went to the Air Force Institute of Technology, my assignment as being in the Air Force for that 12-month period or whatever, I mean, that was my job. So I got paid as being an officer, and I got the school for free. And, that to me was the best way to be able to get my master's degree, because that's all I had to do. That was my job, was to get my master's degree and get paid for it and have the school paid for. So that was awesome.
So we have our guest just come back. Matt is in the background. I'm going to bring him in again. I'm curious, Matt, did you get to go to, was your college paid for? And when it got paid for, did you get to go back and get a master's and have it paid for? Because I would love to have something paid for of any of my degrees.
Yeah, I did. So I went into the Navy out of high school, and then after about 3 years of service, the Navy offered to send me to a school to get my undergraduate degree, which they paid for. And then while I was active duty, they sent me to University of Connecticut to get my master's degree. And I'm currently working on my PhD, which is also being paid for through the GI Bill.
Wow. What is your PhD going to be in?
Business psychology.
That is
cool.
Awesome. All right. So I have to get this out. She is so excited you are here. She literally read your bio and started messaging me. This is Jessica Dugas with the Breakthrough Show. She is a UConn grad. She was excited to see you're a part of the Navy. What did you ever visit the Groton sub base while you were in Connecticut for school?
The Groton sub base?
Yes.
I think I said it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. So what was the question? Did I ever visit it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was stationed in Groton several times. I went to school there. All submarine officers go to school in Groton for both the basic course and then the advanced course, which I attended both. And during my time in the military, I was an instructor of submarine tactics for officers, and I taught the submarine advanced course as well.
Wow. So a submarine, like, I have to be honest, I can be on an airplane. I can jump out of an airplane. But a submarine, something about being that far underwater scares the bejesus out of me. And I don't know why. Like, even if I'm on a boat, I get nervous being out in the ocean that deep. Tell us about, like, what got you, why the Navy? Like, how come you didn't just do the Air Force and like kind of blow people up going over them and stuff? I'm
Yeah,
just
no, that's a good question, and I share that fear, and I think it's a healthy fear. I mean, the ocean is unforgiving, it's deep, it's mysterious. I think it's a healthy fear, which I never did get over.
Yeah.
But I can't really answer the question as to why I went into the Navy. I was looking for, I grew up in Hawthorne, New Jersey, and was looking for something to get me out of New Jersey. Kind of see the world type of situation. I was always had sort of a proclivity for math and science, and the nuclear submarine community offered an opportunity to have some pretty intense training in science and technology. I went to school and qualified as a reactor operator, nuclear reactor operator. I like the size of the crew. You look at aircraft carriers that have thousands of people that serve on them. The submarine has about 150 people. It's a real tight knit group. I like the missions, the sort of clandestine intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance type. The stuff that Tom Clancy novels are made of, right? That just intrigued me.
How long on average were you staying on the submarine, like underwater, with your crew?
Yeah,
or just
so
in the ocean in general.
Yeah, it's a good question, Gavin, and it varies, right? So there's times where we'd go out for a couple days, and then there's times where like a deployment would be about 7 months. Now, in those 7 months, you wouldn't be submerged the whole time. You have port calls and stuff like that. The longest I've been submerged for was 110 days.
Oh, wow. Wow. Like, all right. So I want to know about your book. Please no, but the submarine thing.
No, yeah, of course.
Hooked me. I'll get to your book in like an hour.
Sure.
But so with this, like when you're underwater that long, how do you keep your mental health? How do you keep yourself from not snapping and like wanting to go out the window? I mean,
yeah. No, it's a great question, and there's been multiple times in my career where I had to answer that question because it is challenging. And I think a couple things. I think there's 3 things that I kind of concluded help. First off, the first one is to remember that this too shall pass. There's times when you're on a submarine and let's say you have a 7-month deployment, you're 2 weeks into it, and you think like, how in the hell am I going to ever get through this? It's a good time to remember that, time marches on, and this isn't a life sentence. This is something that we're doing, something we volunteered for. You're doing it for a good reason. And in time, you will reflect back on this as a memory. That's one. 2 is I found if I focus on other people, it's very easy to get sort of internal and think about yourself, but especially as a leader on a submarine, if I was struggling with a particular assignment or particular mission, I know that other people were as well. Some of the guys on submarine are 18, 19 years old, and I think about their parents and that their parents entrusted the leadership of the Navy to take care of them, and they sleep well at night knowing that there's someone who's looking after them. And so if you could take the focus off yourself and push it onto other people, what can I do to make this better for others was number 2. And number 3, which I found to be something that I've used in my life outside the submarine, is what I call shrink your time horizon. When you have a 7-month deployment, thinking about getting through 7 months is not manageable mentally. You just can't even wrap your brain around it. But so I'd shrink my time horizon to say, all right, let's get to the next meal. Let's not worry about it. I got 6 hours of watch, and let's get to breakfast. And then we'll deal with life after that. And then after breakfast, you focus on getting to lunch. And that's something that I've often, even in this pandemic, right? So there's elements of the quarantining or what we've experienced in the last year, which I've told my wife remind me very much of a submarine deployment, and the isolation, some of the loneliness, and I've had to tell my family, like, we're going to shrink our time horizon. Let's not worry about this week. We're going to worry about dinner.
How do you start with that though? I'm sorry, Brent. It's because that's like really what we talk about a lot here is it's being in the moment, being there, and in that you literally can't go anywhere. You're how many like 100, couple hundred feet underwater. It's not like you could just step out and be like, oh, I need a fresh air. Like being able to know, okay, I just got to get to lunch. I just have to get to this. I just have to get to that. It creates little goals for you throughout the day. And I think that's something that a lot of people may miss through that. And I want to make sure that people see how you guys do it. And that's coming from a military training, a Navy training. Brett's an Air Force guy. I apologize. I hope that doesn't create a war here right between us. But in all honesty, it's that those little things helped you get through the day, especially when you had, what did you say, 7 months underwater at one point?
Well, 7 months,
105 days.
100 days underwater.
Yeah.
Wow. 90 days sometimes seems like an eternity for people. I can't imagine being somewhere where you're under everything like that and you're stuck and you could easily get into the wrong mindset. When you're in those places, how do you keep yourself going in the right direction? Is that when you wrote your book? I should ask that. That way I could get your book in there.
My first book was about submarines. That's not the book that you talked about. This book, Your Hunter, the one that you talked about earlier, is actually my second book. My first book was about submarines and the culture of the Navy nuclear submarine community. I think there's a lot to be said for, kind of going back to the, how do you stay mentally sharp and how do you stay mentally healthy? I think there's a lot to be said for, we can accomplish a lot more. We're all a lot mentally tougher than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
It's like, people always say, well, how did you do this or how did you do that? And it's like, because I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, that's the answer, because you had to.
Correct.
And, it's amazing, like when you have to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
I think it actually takes a lot more mental strength to do challenging things when you have other options. Mm-hmm. Brandon, you mentioned like on a submarine, like as much as I'd like to take credit for being this mental tough warrior, the reality is there was no option. Mm-hmm. There was no going home. There was no, so when we look at like, whether it's a marriage or a relationship or an entrepreneurial endeavor, it takes a lot of courage to not give up when the option is there to give up.
Correct.
That's a lot more challenging in my assessment.
I think this question from Tokyo Bento is perfect going into it. Does the Navy do conduct psych tests before qualifying for submarines?
They do. It's not as robust as I had assumed it would be. There's some basic. I think that there are some psych tests. I think what they really use as the filter is the training program. The training program is pretty robust. And they're pretty quick to kick people out who, just there's not a lot of second chances in that training program.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not only for what you learn in the classroom, it's your behavior outside of the classroom, your behavior out in town. You get yourself into trouble, you're probably not going to be on a submarine.
Got it.
Yeah. I gotta imagine that although it is definitely stressful and you get stuck in your own head sometimes being down there, it also has to be at times kind of nice, because I can't imagine that Verizon has great service in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So being completely in the moment all the time, that has to be nice to some extent, to not have to worry about social media or what's going on. It's like you can just focus on what is right here in front of you most of the time.
Gavin, that is a great point. I will tell you that like preparing for a deployment was always stressful, right? Like, do I have my bills on auto pay? Do I, have this? Because I wasn't married for the majority of my naval service. I was a single guy, so when I went out, I had to make sure all my ducks were in a row on my own. But as soon as that hatch shut, the rest of the world just disappears. And there was a calm associated with that. There was sort of like this, like, all right, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's no reason to stress about anything out in the real world because there's nothing I could do about it, and there won't be for a very long time. So just you're absolutely right. There was definitely sort of a calm and a mental peace associated with having a pretty small, closed world for a period of time.
Yeah. Now, with that, did you ever wonder, like, did you guys ever kind of like have little conspiracy sessions, like, oh, what if we get back to the mainland and we find out that like crazy things, because 100 days locked up down there, not having any sort of access to the news or what's going on other than what your higher ups are telling you. That's a lot can happen in that 100 days. I think 2020 was a very prominent example of that. Is a lot can happen. So we ever like worried about coming back to a whole new world in a sense?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a time warp, right? So even though we may only be submerged for 100 days, you're really gone from home for 7 months at a time. And you come home and any movie that came out there, like there's gaps in my lifetime where, like, if a movie came out, for example, in 2007, I got nothing. Like, I definitely didn't see it. Music, any kind of current events. There's just all these different gaps in my life that. But
imagine how frustrating slang must be. Any kind of like slang terms. Yeah, every time you come up, everybody's talking like a new form of English in a sense, just these new slang terms left and right.
It's a lot like deployments, even in the Air Force or the Army or whatever. When you go over to Iraq, when you go over to Afghanistan, you're kind of in a time warp. You're in your own bubble. You got your own mission going on. When you come home, if you had a family, the wife and the kids have been living on their own for that 7 months, that 1 year, that 2 years that you've been away, and now you have to step back into it, or you're trying to step back into it, but your perspective is what I left versus what it is today. And that's where there's significant challenges when you're coming off of deployments or coming out of the sub and you have a family or all those types of things, because life went on for them while life was kind of in a bubble for you.
Yeah, and I did not have to deal with the family aspect of it. I mean, like I said, I was single for most of my, the vast majority of my career. But I'll tell you, my peers who did, that was a whole nother element of, like coming back home. And like, I have friends who weren't there for the birth of their kids, and you come home and the first time you see your child, he's 7 months old, or you miss they're 3 years old and now they're 4, and I can't even imagine what that must have been like for them.
Yeah. So I do want to play this game. We're going to have fun with this, with the technical difficulties and that, but I want to talk about your book. I have Maritza cooking in the background. We're going to bring her in and have her have fun with this as well. Because I want to ask questions about your book. I love the title already. I have it brought up in the background to show everybody. But I want to know about how you came up with the book, because I think that plays really well with what you're doing and what we're talking about with being gone and all that. I think that Deer Hunter, Letters from a Father to Son is the name of your book. Let me bring Stovetop in, and I know she's going to want to talk to you. She's already in the background smiling. I've been watching her. Miss Yum Yum, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
Go ahead.
I can definitely relate. I mean, as far as siblings, I have family, my brother in the military, and I know how hard it's been with all the tours that he's done, and with missing out with his kids, and as you were saying. So I really thank you for everything you've done. Like I always thank everyone that has served our country, and I can totally relate, and I'm very excited about reading your book. I actually have 2 boys, so. They're not in the military, but my brother is.
So Maritza, that leads me to a great question. With being 2 gentlemen who have served in very different you guys get where I'm going. Different ways. What would you like when people are, because a lot of people say, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. And it's a very polite way. What is a good way to show your respect to veterans that have done that and kept us free? How do you like to be able to be thanked, congratulated, whatever the word you would like to use there, but be appreciated?
Brett, you got any thoughts on that?
Me
That's a tough one.
personally, I don't. I even have a hard time when people say thank you, because to me it was my job, it was my mission, it was doing something for my country, and that I don't necessarily expect to be recognized for being a veteran or what I did. What I actually do is I respond by saying thank you for your support, and mainly for the support of the troops that I led, because those are the people to me that actually accomplish the mission. The younger troops, especially that have served in the military, I think are the ones that need to be recognized for all the efforts and sacrifices that they made. For me personally, it was not, when I'm recognized, I appreciate it for sure, but I really appreciate it more for the guys that I served with.
I love it. I love it.
I would echo that. I would echo that. You know, I certainly don't expect to be thanked. You know, it was a decision that I made, and I'm thankful that we live in a world where you're not forced to serve in the military. It's voluntary, and I certainly didn't do it to be thanked. I did it for a variety of reasons. I'm proud of it, and I certainly appreciate when somebody says thank you for your service. But you know, I think, you know, we live in a world where, I mean, I think when all is working as it should, like I'll give you an example. I was in the military prior to 9/11. And when 9/11 happened, I got a lot of people. I mean, I had already been in the military for 6 or 7 years when 9/11 happened. And after 9/11, it was like this overwhelming support for me. I would get letters in the mail and all this stuff. And it's like, look, no, like, in an ideal world, like, we're in the background just doing our thing to protect the country. And I kind of looked at 9/11 as a failure, not a personal failure, but like a failure of the systems, the defense systems that were in place that were supposed to prevent this from happening. And to be honest, I felt embarrassed that people were then saying, oh, thank you, or you're a hero. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just part of an organization that's supposed to run in the background quietly. Without fanfare and without publicity.
So Maritza, tell Matt what you're making today. Maritza's making us a special dish. She teaches us about why food is essential and how it helps our bodies and all that. She has 2 young children, and they learned from her and all of her cooking, and she's created her own little like stovetop yum twerk station. And I love what she does, so that's why she comes on every Monday and teaches us a little bit. What are you making today, and how are we going to get Matt some?
Well, before I do that, I'd like to make a quick comment as a civilian of the United States of America. I'd like to give my side of it. I understand. I know several people in the military that don't like to be thanked. I know you guys appreciate it, but I will tell you, as a civilian naturally born in this country, I got the chills right now. I have a knot in my throat. I will say that the life that we live in this country today, with ups and downs, aside from that, thanks to your courage and thanks to the goodwill to want to fight and love your country, we live the way we do today. So it's very important for me to actually share that. Because, look, I have chills right now. I wish I could show you a close-up. See that? Chicken skin.
Well, thank you, Maritza.
Yes, sir, of course. Today, Matt, I am making a Veggie Lovers mini quiche, and they're done. It was so easy to make. I used my favorite pie crust. I've got my cute little circles because I love to be cute because I'm a girl. And I put them in my little pan, in my little mini cupcake pan. I love everything that's, I don't know if you agree, but I love everything that's just bite-sized. You can just kind of like an hors d'oeuvre. As I was mentioning earlier before you came in, that when you have a brunch situation, the majority of them have a lot of variety of things to choose from, including mimosas. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my little bite size. I'm going to show you a close-up. They're out of the oven. It took 13 to 15 minutes, Brandon. And look at that.
Wow, they look delicious.
So
really
delicious.
good.
I'm going to go ahead and cut one in half. What do you think so far, Matt? You like that?
Yeah, it looks wonderful.
Yeah, baby Bella mushrooms. Keep in mind, guys, when you buy your portobello mushrooms, whether they're baby or whether they're mom or dad, that's what I call them, make sure that you have a damp paper towel to clean them off. Never run your mushrooms under water because mushrooms absorb a lot of water. That makes sense when you're cleaning them.
Gotcha.
And I have baby spinach and delicious bell red peppers. So I used onion and chive cream cheese in the mix, and that makes this the healthy version because, as we all know, quiche is a very famous French dish, and it's used with very heavy cream, which it's delicious, but it's not too good for our arteries. So the cream cheese substituted for the heavy cream. That's what makes it not only delicious, but it also makes it a lot healthier. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut into one of these as I always do and show you what it looks like. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Look at that.
Wow.
So colorful.
So cute. Isn't that colorful? Delicious.
Looks great.
And also the Parmesan cheese that I added acts as the salt agent in the dish, the Parmesan cheese. So there was no need to add salt. I put some of the cheese, add a little bit of black pepper, and that's it. And if you don't eat them all, you can make 50 of them and you can freeze them. And whenever you're hungry, you can just heat them up in the microwave for 30 seconds, 35 seconds. So it's really great. So now, Matt, I'm going to taste this, and I know it's going to be delicious. So if you see me twerking, please don't panic because I twerk when I'm just want to give you a heads up, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so here goes, guys. So this is a whole little bite size. I'm going to put the whole thing in my mouth. I took half out because I need to put my delight. I can't live without it. Can't live without this. This is odorless, tasteless. My CBD powder that I use it as my salt, for example, on my dishes. Keeps you calm, balanced, and where have you been all my life? Here goes, guys.
There it is. Now we're about to find out. Now Maritza has a rating scale of 1 to 10. A 10 means she's twerking, and that means she made something new, and she's got to get into it. We're still figuring out what a 1 is because we've only had 9s and 10s so far. Because she is just on top of this. I love it. I'm sorry, Maritza.
I'm already moving because I tried half. All right, here it goes with my CBD.
Uh-oh. She needs a wall. She needs the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I think she's on Twitter. I'm not sure.
Yes, I am.
Boom. She's always out there. She's stove twerk, yum, yum. Guys, it is wonderful. Maritza, give us one last thing. How was it? Scale 1 to twerk.
Twerk. It was absolutely, yes. As I always say, guys, who said that something healthy cannot be delicious? I was so satisfied. What a satisfying bite. It was so great to just sit there and have that with some hot tea or coffee in the morning. So delicious, you guys.
How long did it take you to make that?
13 to total 17 minutes. Because it was actually I call it a garbage bowl dump, which means all your ingredients, just dump them in and mix them and you're done, which makes it relatively very easy. So
I am so proud of you, Maritza. That looks amazing. Send me the recipe. I want to put that up there for everybody.
I want to see that recipe. I'm not normally a quiche person, but I want to try that one. That looks awesome.
Oh, so good. It'll be on my channel probably by 2 p.m. today. I already have my video on it. And I also wanted to mention to you guys, Brandon, I had my first professional photo shoot last week.
I saw
some of those.
It was weird. It was so weird, you guys. I cried almost twice. It was the weirdest experience. And Carlito's in the background taking pictures on my phone, which I didn't even know. And the grin that he had, and all he kept saying was, "You're so extraordinary, Mom." I almost cried. And it's weird.
I thought they were beautiful.
Thank you. You have all the. I'm getting the pictures today, the proofs today. They're editing them, so I'll get to pick them out. They'll be a lot different from the photographer. But really quick, the aluminum pieces and those big lights. It's weird. It makes you feel like a celebrity. I can't explain it. It's just the weirdest feeling. But I was so happy to do it. And when I pick my beautiful cover for my cookbook, which is coming out soon, it's a little delayed because Brandon's aware of the fact that I have a lot going on. My brand has been trademarked. I have my shirts coming out. I have my cookbook coming out. I work full time. I'm a full-time mom, wife. You know, life is good. As Jessica was saying this morning in the Breakthrough Show, as I mentioned to her, I'm thankful that I woke up this morning. That's something to be so thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah. So I just love, I love life right now. I love you guys, and I missed Brandon, and I just.
We've been so busy, Maritza. I look forward to our team meeting later today. So let me swing back for a second because I really want to be able to let everybody. I keep sharing it, but guys, here's Matt's website. This way, you go to the right spot. Do yourself a favor. Go click on this. Follow through. He's a keynote speaker, a best-selling author, and a retired U.S. naval officer. Matt, I know that we didn't get a lot of time to talk about your book, but don't worry, I have it in the background as well. I'm pulling that up as we speak. Tell us a little bit about this book and why Letters from Father to Son, Dear Hunter, Letters from Father to Son. What made you write this? What was your inspiration?
So I'm a little bit older for a first-time father. I was 45 years old when my son was born. And, I have no plans of going anywhere anytime soon, but I also know I could do the math on it. And, I thought maybe when he was a little older, I might not, be there the same way that some other fathers can be. So I started to document things that I had thought that I would like to share with him. And I quickly realized I thought I had a book. And they're all bite-sized letters. There's 50 letters on a variety of topics, from habits to integrity to love to loss. Just my efforts to kind of express. Most of the lessons that we learned are pretty hard-earned lessons. So there's very little bragging in the book. It's more of a confessional, like, hey, I screwed this up and here's why, and this is what I learned from it. I hope that maybe not only will it be a keepsake for Hunter, but I think, and some of the feedback that I've gotten is that it makes a decent starting point for parents who are looking to speak to their maybe older children on some difficult topics. And if that is true, then I've been successful, because that's why I chose to share it, because I kind of put myself out there a little bit. I mean, there's topics about mental health. There's some I've gotten some some people that are close to me said, hey Matt, you really kind of laid it on the line there in this book. But I think that's I think authenticity is probably the one superpower that we all have. Yeah. And I think whether we're listening to music or watching a movie or reading a book, we could tell when an artist is being authentic. And it was important to me that this book be my authentic self. And so, maybe I've done some of the hard lift, some of the heavy lifting for other folks. If you have a particular topic that you feel like it's necessary to talk to an older child about, maybe, I hope that this book would provide a good starting point for that discussion.
I love that.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I'm taking a question if none of you guys are, because I talk a lot. So just be prepared.
No, I assumed you were going to go right ahead. Yeah,
guys, I talk a lot, so I always have like 10 questions ready in the back of my head. Matt, I know I don't want you to give any stories away. I want people to read your book. But what would you say would be a story that was probably the hardest for you to write? It taught you the biggest lesson that you would want people to see in your book? I know that's a very open question.
It's fair. It's a fair question. I think the second letter in the book is called "Allow Yourself to Suck," and it really was about writing the book and how, in writing in general, I have, we'll call them demons, but the internal dialogue, whatever you want to call it, that says like, that basically tell me like, who the hell are you to write a book? Who cares what you have to say? Blah blah blah. It's all that negative speak that we all hear, and it has, it's not just about writing. It's about any endeavor that we choose to go down. We end up with a lot of, sometimes we're our own worst enemy. And that internal dialogue was challenging in writing this book. And the way I kind of overcame that internal dialogue was to say, all right, demon, you're right. I suck. And I have nothing to say. But you know what? I'm going to write anyway. I'm not going to try to, that giving your permission to suck is sort of what I would consider sort of mental judo with that demon. Look, I'm not going to wrestle with you. I'm not going to, you may be right. Maybe no one will ever read this book, but you know what? I'm going to write it anyway.
Yes. Hunter, does your son Hunter know about the book? Has he read the book?
Well, sort of. He's Hunter's 3 years old. So he recognizes me in the picture of me in the book, and kind of recognizes himself as well, because that's him and I on the cover. And he calls it his book. So
do you have a specific date in mind or a specific age when you plan on having him read it, or like introducing it to him to read?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess early teens.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting, right? They say like, no man can ever stand in the same river twice, because on the second attempt he'll be a different man and the river will be a different river. And that's kind of how I feel about that book. Like he can read it when he's 14 and he'll get something out of it, and hopefully he can read it when he's 50 and he'll get something else out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah, with how your perspective changes. Like, I know if I was told, if I had 21-year-old Gavin right now and went back and talked to 17-year-old Gavin, there are so many things that I would want to say to him and so many things that I would tell him. And I know at least 60% of that would go in one ear and out the other, or right over his head. Like, I wouldn't have been able to process it properly, because I didn't experience the things that I have now that's allowed me to see these different perspectives. One thing that I'm actually, because I'm thinking about now how you've almost started this possibility of a domino effect, where like I believe that one of the main purposes in life is to obtain as much information as you can, learn as much as you can, and then pass that on to the next generation. And not only have you obtained all this information, you've documented it, and for the sole purpose of passing it on to your next generation. In my mind, I'm just thinking, how amazing would it be if one day he writes a book and does the same thing that you have, and then passes it on to his kid, and you just have these volumes of just generational knowledge that will accumulate over the years. I think that'd be really amazing.
Yeah, that would be. And I'll tell you, it's interesting what you said there. You said, if you were able to talk to your 17-year-old self, that a lot of that information that you passed on would have fallen on deaf ears. I thought about that often when I was writing this book. Like, I was very careful not to make it preachy, because for right or wrong, most advice falls on deaf ears. And so that's why, I really felt the need to document my own failures, to express my own vulnerabilities, to say, look, I'm not writing this saying, do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted this book to be was one that came across as preachy. It was more about, hey, life is tough. You're going to learn lessons along the way. Some of them you're going to have to learn yourself, but I'd be remiss not to try to express the hard-earned lessons that I've learned in a way that may benefit you.
Love it. I love it. So, guys, do not hesitate. Go over to Matt's website right here. Ooh, as I'm trying to share it, doesn't want to go. Boom. I've also got his Amazon link coming up right here as well. Do yourself a favor. Check it out. Make sure you do. You had a couple people already subscribe. I've actually put it in my wish list as my next book to purchase. Honestly, I as a person who is not a father, I think there's still lessons that can be read to be able to understand my father better. I also know that when Gavin talks and he talks about being 21 and talking to 17-year-old self, I couldn't talk to 27-year-old Brandon, and that's 11 years ago. So there's a lot of growth that happens in life. And I think that writing a book like that, especially with your son being so young and you having the experience of life that you have, I think that is a great way of getting to connect with your son in a totally different way. So last thing of the day, everybody ready? We always do. Gavin threw something at the camera there. Did you see that?
Oh, it was my cord. It caught my hand.
Yeah, right. You're just mad now. Oh, I'm losing Matt. So we end every show with positive ways of being able to inspire everybody to go through their day. What I'll do is have Maritza start and then go Gavin, Brett, me, then you, Matt. So you end our show for us today. Maritza, are you ready back there? Do you have another quiche ready just so that way I can be jealous?
Yeah, you know me. I was born ready. All right, so here's my.
Go ahead. It's all you.
Thank you. My positivity today is I always say about looking for the light, but today I'm going to talk about find the superhero in you. We all have it. Wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and look at yourself and say, I'm Wonder Woman today, or I'm this today, and feel that way, because the way you feel has a lot to do on how your perceptions and your actions in life will be responded to. And always remember, guys, that if you have 1,000 steps and you have 100 books and you need to take them up 1,000 steps, if you intend to take it up and you don't make it, you only make it to 100 steps, that's not failure because you tried. You always keep trying and you never give up on your dreams. Dreams do not come true because people stop dreaming. Anything is attainable in life. You have to want it bad enough. And yes, I've been spoken down about my channel, about this when I started a year ago, and look at where I am today. So that's where my heart is. And I love you guys. And always remember, I'm always here if you guys ever need to talk. And can't wait to get Matt's book. And I love you guys.
Boom. Boom. Mr. Gavin Kerr.
So one of the things that I really like to touch on is back earlier when we were talking about being down on a submarine. One of the things that Matt said he did to get through the hardships of it and some of the difficulties were he would, instead of thinking of it as, all right, I have 7 months to be down here, he'd think of it as, all right, let's just go to the next meal. And that's what you have to do no matter how big or intimidating or long-term your goals are. It really does help to break it down into smaller sections. To how Brett Gordon was talking about early, just one more stroke, just one more inch, just push a little farther, just go a little faster, just try a little bit longer. That really does make a big difference. And another part that goes hand in hand with that is time planning and scheduling. If you work 8 hours a day and sleep 8 hours a day, that's still another 8 hours that you have to do whatever it is you want. That could be an hour on working on your business, and then another hour on learning a new skill, and then another hour of learning or working on something just for you, some sort of self-care. That's 3 hours right there, and you still have 5 more hours to do whatever else you want. So learn time management is some of the best advice that I could give. And then also just take things a little bit at a time. Pieces of sand to make a mountain.
Mr. Brett Gordon.
Yeah, I think, I was going to kind of tie everything in as well with the one stroke at a time for making it to the raft is like one step at a time and one step after another will eventually get you to 1,000 miles. Just break things down into something that is achievable and it's attainable within your mind and at the time, whatever that big event is. Just like when I am a project manager or program manager, you break it down into 1,000 tasks, and each task is the one that you focus on. And when those 1,000 tasks are done, so is the project. But when you first start out, that seems daunting. And it was the same thing when I wrote my resume, or not my resume, when I wrote my thesis. Writing a thesis sounds huge, but when you get a chance to break it down to chapter by chapter and then subject within a subject or subject within a chapter, then it becomes more manageable. It becomes something that you can actually achieve without being overwhelmed. And I think that that's what life is all about. You take one step at a time, one stroke at a time, one day at a time, and life becomes much more manageable, and you can thrive in those moments as opposed to surviving life.
Love that.
Very well said, Brett. Very well said. Brandon, you're up. Oh, okay. So, guys, I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in. Matt, thank you for jumping on today with us. I understand the technical difficulties. We are very appreciative that you were here. Looks like you've already sold a couple copies. You've got more in the wish list, and people are going to be coming. So I think the biggest thing I learned from today in particular was no matter what happens, keeping that positivity, keeping that mindset that, okay, one thing at a time, because truth be told, it could very easily, if I was in Matt's shoes and the sound didn't work and then things are happening, it's very easy to just let it get frustrating and push you into a negative mindset. He didn't come on and have anything negative to say. Matt came on and he's like, I wrote a book about this. I did this. I've been underwater for 7 months at a time and never had a problem. Well, not 7 months, but you know what I mean, out for 7 months. And he still showed positivity, enthusiasm, and just pure love for everything that we have. Do yourself a favor, guys, and spread that positivity. Use that for your ability to be able to jumpstart your week. It is Monday. It is the start of the week. Make this your best week. May 1st passed. It's May 3rd. Start now. Push for May to be the most mental health month you've ever had. I think that's where I wanted to go. We're going to go with it. Matt, take us out, my friend.
All right, that's all very difficult to follow because those were all great thoughts. I think if I have the microphone here for a moment, what I would share is, I would encourage people not to fall for what I think is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves, which is motivation leads to action. I don't believe that. I believe action leads to motivation. I think many of us have dreams and goals that we're waiting to be motivated to make progress towards. And I think it's my experience that if we wait for motivation to arrive, we're gonna be sitting home lonely for quite some time waiting for motivation to knock on the door. My experience is we just act, and that act will create some motivation, which will set the stage for your next action, which will set the stage for more motivation, and et cetera. And the cycle will continue, but it always starts with action before motivation.
I love it. Absolutely. Great episode. Guys, do not forget to hit share, comment, like. Last thing of the day, Matt, I hope you don't mind. I added you to this just because you were our guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to spin for who gets to pick what onesie we're going to wear for our workout this week. And you win a box of CBD. Ready, guys? Tap for the spin. And Rebecca, I have to go. I will go look up exactly how to spell your last name, send her a message, and let her know she won, and give her an option on that. Maritza, did you see I put your name in there too? I was trying to help you get a free box, girl. I love you. Guys.
I love you too. I just saw that.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Share positivity, share love. Thank you for getting us and getting a shot of Java and finding your delight this morning. We're truly grateful for all of you. Have a great day. Thank you again, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Thank you.
Take care.